think I'm live on Facebook and Instagram. If you can't hear me on either platform, Facebook or Instagram, holler at me. I know I had trouble last bake-along we did. But otherwise, if you can hear and you can see, awesome. We're making shortbread today. I'm very excited about it. It's the simplest recipe I've ever made that I have. It requires a bowl and your hands, or if you want to get fancy, you can bring a pastry blender to the scene or 2 knives. Though I've never understood how someone cuts in butter with 2 knives. It's completely past me. I have no idea. But I'm super excited. I'm glad we're doing something sort of simpler today. Though I've been trying to bring to the table recipes that you can transform as you like. I mean, including you know how to make basic cream puffs and you know how to make a basic chocolate cake. So you can do whatever you want with those. This you can also sort of spice up, literally and metaphorically. You can use spices, you can use citrus zest, you can use a ton of different things. So this is super exciting that we're making shortbread today. It is French shortbread. I can't actually tell you the difference between shortbreads. I know one, someone correct me here. Is it Swedish shortbread? I know some shortbreads are piped, and that's when you get, sort of the gorgeous fluted shortbreads and all sorts of different shapes. Let me know. I think if you can't hear me on Facebook or Instagram, let me know. Otherwise, we can start if you guys are ready. 3 ingredients. That's all you need. 3 ingredients. Flour. Probably any type would work. I haven't tried this with... I don't think I've tried this with any type of flour besides wheat flour, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. That's how simple this is. All-purpose flour, powdered sugar, butter, cold and cubed. If your butter is out right now, throw it in the freezer. We will get to it. Now we're making 2 different types of shortbread, and I'll tell you why. That's why this is variations on shortbread. We're gonna have some fun today. Simple, perfect fun. You can make this anytime. So we're gonna start with just a classic shortbread up top. 3 ingredients. If you're into doing, if you have a scale or something, I do, so I'm gonna do it weighed today. But I also have just sort of your regular measurements here. All-purpose flour, powdered sugar, toss it in your bowl right now. And honestly, you can use a whisk. You don't have to use a whisk. We're gonna get down dirty with our hands today. And that's another thing I like about this. If you're feeling any stress, this might be helpful. So I'm doing 50 grams or half a cup of powdered sugar. Almost there. And you don't have, be exact if you can, but if you're a little off, don't sweat it. This is an incredibly forgiving recipe. And 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon or 160 grams of all-purpose flour. Oh, I'm over on my flour. Actually, we'll pull some of that out. I know I just said, what did I just say? It's forgiving. It is. It is. It's very forgiving. Almost. And now's the time where if you brought something to the table today that you want to throw in, go for it now. If you have any zests, if you have, I know someone was bringing dried lavender, salt. Now's the time to add your salt. I don't have a measurement on your salt. You're going to be fine. If you have salted butter today, don't add any salt. If you have unsalted butter, add some salt. You have the control here. And I actually want to say a pinch, which I feel like a terrible baker for telling you to throw in a pinch of salt. Throw in that pinch of salt, you guys. Don't even worry about it. It's all good. I probably just put 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt in. Somewhere between 1/8 of a teaspoon and 1/4 teaspoon. So if you are using salted butter and that's what you have, go for it. If you needed to buy the Amish log roll of butter because that's all the grocery store had, it's delicious, by the way, do it. Don't add any salt at this part. But you do want it cold either way. And we're going to do this twice. So I know I gave you double this, and when we do cocoa, we're going to take our other half of ingredients and throw it in there. Okay, I'm going to get my butter out of the fridge, which I have... Oh, it's up here. Gosh, I'm telling you, this Amish roll of butter is so delicious. I'm a salted butter girl. I grew up eating salted butter. I'm not about, toast with unsalted butter. That's just horrible. And cube up your butter. And if you're using a marble slab like me, be very careful on your marble. You do need, if everyone's just like wildly ahead of me right now, you do need a fair amount of clean workspace. So if you need to sort of wipe down your counter quickly, do it. I'm just throwing that half cup of cold butter into the bowl right now. And if you made your scones by hand, we're doing the same thing. We're cutting in the butter by hand. So you can count coins. This is the sablage portion of the French shortbread. Classically, I'll explain it later, but these are called diamants, meaning diamonds, because of the sugar you can, if you feel free and want to roll the shortbread logs in. So we're just going to cut in the butter until it turns into a sand-like texture. I'm going to get all up in your face with my hands and show you what I'm talking about. It's cold. Thanks for joining, by the way. We've been at this now 5 weeks, though I wasn't on during Easter. And we've done already, I think, a range of baked goods. And if anyone has any questions, holler at me. I'm going to, or if I miss you and then other people say things, holler at me again. You can spam it with your questions. I'm a huge shortbread fan, so that's one thing. Is anyone throwing in a citrus zest right now? I'm making plain vanilla. Oh, you know what I forgot? I'm gonna stop right now and show you something. One thing I said was you can add vanilla powder, and I picked up the idea of vanilla powder at culinary school because in France, actually, when I was there at least, they use vanilla powder and not, we don't have to preheat the oven yet. We're gonna start that after we make our second batch of shortbread, and I'll show you why. Fantastic question. It will be 350 if someone's oven takes a half hour to preheat. Go for it, 350. If not, you don't have to yet. We use vanilla powder in school, not extract, which we commonly use here, and I love extract, so I still use it. I'm throwing a little in here because I like the way it looks. Can't tell you how much it affects the taste, but it gives that gorgeous vanilla bean ice cream, sort of dots of vanilla in it. It's just dried vanilla bean. All right, we're getting to a sand. It's the coin counting. I've never counted coins like this, so I don't know why that's the analogy. At some time, people were counting coins like this. I don't know, we don't use change that much anymore, and now we're really not supposed to be using change. Okay. We're getting there. Another thing you'll need is, I have a pastry scraper. Maybe you don't. It's just a bendy plastic. It's a little bit malleable. Flat thing. I'll show it to you right here. I've got it next to me. This guy. If you don't have one of those, you can use a spatula. I'll show you why later. Okay, we're getting there. So let me get up in your faces with this. See how it's sand? And it holds its form. So now what we're going to do, I get vanilla powder from Williams-Sonoma, which is closed right now. I'm sure you can get it online. If you look up vanilla powder, a few options to turn up. I really like the Tahitian vanilla powder from Williams-Sonoma. I really like the way it smells. It looks like dirt. It smells like heaven. So, pour it out on your work surface, and now we're going to use the heel of our hand, and this technique is called forsage, and I don't know why. I think it sort of means to knead, but it has a bunch of different translations. Heel of the hand, you're going to dig into your sand and scrape it. Ancient technique, absolutely ancient. Actually, it might be. I was sort of kidding. Just, you're scraping it, and you're going to get these lines of dough, and that's perfect. What you're looking for is for the dough to come together. We're going to do this a few times, and then we're going to make our cocoa and do it again. So if you're having trouble on this one, this is just the run-through before the final show. It's the rehearsal. So this is where a spatula or this guy will come in handy. You can sort of collect it, bring it back to you, and this is a messy job. I wore my pearls, my little black dress apron for today. You're going to keep going. I'll tell you how many times it takes me. Oh, I have so much vanilla powder on my thumb right now. I actually have an apron collection. Some of you know this. And I have no idea how many I have. But I've worn a different one for each of these, and I figure by the end of bake-alongs, I might know how many aprons I have. My aunt actually gave me this one. I love this apron so much. I think some of you have even seen it. All right, also use this tool as a hand scraper. All right. How we doing out there with the hand scraping? Oh, yes. Oh, hello. Ooh, that sounds so good. Rosemary shortbread sounds incredible. Sweet or savory? I mean, I'm so curious. I do make a savory shortbread, but I've never incorporated herbs into the sweet one before. Rosemary's my absolute favorite herb, though. So that sounds delightful. Is anyone bringing any herbs? I think I mentioned the lavender, the cooking lavender. Amazing. That sounds so good. Why not? That sounds so... I'm floored by this rosemary. That sounds amazing. Okay, I'm almost there, and I'll show you what we're looking for. It's absolutely going to stick to your hand, which is good. Oh, you can see all my vanilla... maybe you can't. I should shut the window. See all my vanilla bean dots throughout the dough. Okay. Ooh, this is good. Okay, mine has come together, and at the very last bit, if you can sort of form it into a ball, you've done it. And you don't, I know this is hard, we're working with our hands, but you don't want to overwork this dough either. No one wants tough shortbread. So I've turned mine into a little ball here. How is it going? Ooh, it was sweet. That sounds so good. Oh my gosh. You know what? I think I'm missing the newest comment on Facebook. Give me 1 second. I apologize if I'm delayed in responding. I've got this little notification up that I'm going to try and get off of the screen. Okay. Ha! Oh, it was fresh rosemary. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Denise, that sounds so good. Oh my gosh. See, I'm glad I moved that. Okay. What we're going to do here is quarter this guy. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Compliments on the good arm. Quarter this, and we're going to do something different with each quarter. So my quarters are about, so long as you quarter your dough, it doesn't matter. Mine's, if I flatten it, it's about the palm of my hand. And each of these will turn into something different. For starters, set one of them aside. We'll come back to that one. The next one, and the thing about, this is probably the hardest part with this shortbread, there are air pockets right now in our dough. There have to be. So you do want to take it apart, put it in your hand, and then rebuild it, trying to make sure there are no air pockets, because once we slice it, we're going to have holes in our shortbread, and we don't want that. So this one, we're going to turn into a cylinder. And you can make it, consistency is the only key here. So your cylinder, and I've got a big air pocket in mine, your cylinder could be, much shorter and thicker than this one. Totally up to you. You're just rolling. Oh my gosh, the dots of vanilla they look so pretty. I'm so pleased. Okay, so I'm going to make mine. I know everyone's hand is a different size, but I'm going to let mine be like this. And if you have parchment, awesome. If you have plastic wrap, that works. I have parchment squares, which works great. You can roll this little guy into parchment just like this. Wax paper would work. If you have nothing, you can stick it in a plastic bag. If you don't even have a plastic bag, you can just put it in any sort of tray, cover it with a towel, and we're going to put them in the fridge so they have a little bit of time to rest. So we're going to make a rectangle, I guess, with this guy. So same idea. We want there to be no air pockets, so rebuild it. And you'll see why. Some of you probably already know. If anyone has any questions, let me know. I've been toying with the idea of being like, if you have a question about specifically what you're doing, you could join the feed. We'd all see you, but if you want to say, oh, is this sandy enough during the assemblage portion? So now, again, consistency is just important. So you just want your rectangle to look like the rectangle we make with the cocoa shortbread. Okay. And it might be a little challenging to make it consistent. It's going to be fine no matter what. I think rectangles are most difficult to make. So I'm going to sort of roll, because it's a rectangle, won't work quite the same way. Yeah, like that. And then what we're gonna do is set this one aside too. was going to do something, I'm debating. I think we should probably do it later. So you're gonna put these two in the fridge and take these two and set them aside. And then maybe clear your workspace. And I should have said it, I hope you saved your bowl. I'm all about, I guess, being lazy. Use the same bowl for your next shortbread. And we're making the cocoa shortbread next. Same idea. Let me get you your recipe. I'll wash my hands. And again, these guys are going into the fridge. They just need to set. If you're worried about like the fridge being cold enough for them, you can throw them in the freezer. That's fine. These freeze so well. You can cut off 5 cookies, throw them in the oven, throw them back in the freezer. I'm going to put mine in the freezer just to make sure they come down to a temperature so that they solidify a little bit. That's the goal here, is making sure they are easy to cut. And make sure your freezer is closed. Okay, round 2, cocoa cookies. And let me make sure I'm at the bottom here. Perfect, okay. I'm going to adjust the parchment. I learned this trick at a wholesale bakery I worked at when I completely screwed up a recipe. And my boss was like, hey, you know what you should do? Cover up the other recipe so you don't use the wrong portions. If it won't form into a ball, you can add a little bit of water. That's an excellent question. And this is following the frissage of the pressing into the surface. If it is, add a little bit of water just to get it to come together. Great question. Totally okay if that happened. Now we're going to do cocoa. You'll notice these 3 are identical. You're going to put the all-purpose flour, powdered sugar, and cocoa powder in the bowl, and then we're going to add the butter. Same as last time. All right. I've got my scale going. And this time I'm not going to use too much flour as a goal. So it's 1 cup flour plus 1 tablespoon. And then half a cup of powdered sugar. Okay. And I'm actually, just because it's cocoa, I'm not going to throw vanilla in. What I've been thinking about doing is putting espresso powder in this. I don't see why it wouldn't work. It is bitter, but this can be a pretty sweet cookie. Ooh, I see a typo on the ingredients list. If you are weighing with me, that should be 50 grams of powdered sugar, not 150 grams. That, talk about a sweet cookie. That would be very sweet. And then you can add the cocoa powder to this mix. Add as much as you want. I'm going to go for 1 tablespoon. Really, the cocoa won't be very strong. You'll see soon. It's sort of a play of color. So we'll see. So get your butter out. I have mine right here. And we're going to be doing the same thing. Throw that salt in if you want to add some salt. I'm going to because I'm using unsalted butter. And again, 1/8 of a teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon's quite a bit. But if you like, the more salt, the sweeter the cookie. So if you like really sweet shortbread, throw in 1/4 teaspoon. I don't actually have, who has an 1/8 teaspoon measurer? Only at work in the kitchen do I have an 1/8 teaspoon measurer. All right. And this is actually going to be a really light brown, which I think is going to complement our other shortbread nicely. Part of me, though, is thinking, oh, should I add a little more cocoa powder? And you can do that. You can adjust as you go. That's sort of the beauty of recipes like this. I think I will add a little more cocoa powder. How are yours looking out there? Did we survive the too crumbly dough? Did the water help? This is a really forgiving recipe. And I am going to add more cocoa powder right now. And again, we're just doing the sablage. We're turning this into sand. Yeah. My husband loves chocolate. I might have mentioned this before, but our dessert tastes don't complement each other whatsoever, which I think is ironic considering I'm a pastry chef. He loves his tarts and torts and flourless chocolate cakes. No, I can't do it. I'm a pie person. I just recently heard that people don't like pie, apparently. My favorite dessert of all time is banana cream pie. Hands down. Super easy for me to decide. Alright, I'm not quite at sandy yet. Oh, this dough is magnificent. It's so pretty right now. Once you do hit sand, feel free to move on to the frosage. You're just going to knead that dough right into the table and scrape it across. Ooh, my gosh. Okay, I've definitely hit that sandy texture. And it does hold its form when I squeeze, so I'm going to turn mine out. And you are done with your bowl at this point. Probably I'm going to realize you're not later. And then I'm going to have to pull out a new bowl, which is my punishment for being lazy in the first place. And scrape this across. Now, if you're concerned you might have added too much cocoa powder, absolutely add water to this. Even mine, I'm like, this is a little stiff. I might have to add a little bit of water. Some shortbread recipes use egg. This one doesn't. For some reason, I do know French chocolate shortbread recipe that's completely different than this, and does have an egg, and there's one other, I think there's a leavening agent, which I thought was interesting. You'll notice we don't have baking soda or baking powder or yeast. There's nothing helping these move but their butter. The reason it's called shortbread, I recently learned this. Short used to sort of mean something else, and so shortbreads and short crusts have a high fat to flour ratio. This has a high fat to flour ratio for sure. Yes, the other demos, if you want to see other demos, this is actually Bake Along number 4, I think. They are on Facebook. This is the first time that I've connected to Facebook. I've just been on Instagram so far and had a Facebook fail 2 weeks ago. But you can check the website, beurrepastryshop.com, and under more information, you'll find Beurre Bake-Alongs, and the other 3 videos are on there. I also have a YouTube channel, and they're on there. All of them are also on Facebook under videos. None of that sounds very easy to find, actually. My gosh, let me know if you can't find it, because that would be incredibly good for me to know. I ended up loving this color. Maybe it's just the marble tricking me, but oh, it's good. It's the perfect amount of cocoa. I hope you guys added more than I said. I was totally wrong. But again, experimenting is the best part. Okay, so once your dough ball forms together, we will again sort of scrape the counter off, and we're doing the exact same thing we did before, and I'll tell you why. We're going to quarter our dough ball. I know, ignore my chocolatey hands. If your hands are going to be dirty, let it be chocolate. Quarter the dough ball, and we're going to set 2 aside, and we're going to form the other 2. Same problem here, air pockets. You'll notice they're really difficult to roll if you have air pockets in the dough. So if yours were falling apart when you're trying to roll them, that's because you can even see it'll break apart at the air pocket. Mine, if you saw, it had like one massively long air pocket and it just split in 2. It's okay, it's totally fine. This actually isn't a bad technique to have on hand if you're making any rolled dough. I don't think that's the technical term for this. There's a technical term for dough that you cut. Gosh, I can't remember. Oh my gosh, hello back. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I have so much fun doing these. I can't even tell you. All right, and the reason you might see me patting the ends, that's just because you don't have to cut off a ton of dough because your ends weren't flat. I always cut off the ends and toss them. If you notice there are no eggs in this recipe, if you cut off the ends, you could hypothetically eat them. You didn't hear it from me. All right. Ooh, this one's really long. This actually worked out nicely. And if it's not smooth, don't fret. Don't worry about it. These are for you. If this is your first time making shortbread by hand, awesome. Pat yourself on the back. Okay, next one, rectangle. Then we can sort of wash our hands and that's because we're gonna get our hands dirty. Always wash your hands well. Rectangle now. We are getting right back into being dirty after this, just so you know. And again, you want this to resemble the size of the other one. I'm trying to make sure my rolls are at least a little bit consistent. Okay. And we'll get right into the other two after this. You do need your tray from the freezer or the fridge, because you're going to put these on there as well. Because I'm hoping we'll be able to bake these off quickly, so we don't have to wait too long for them to harden. All right, that looks good to me. I'm going to wrap mine in parchment and then put both of these in the freezer as well. And we'll come back for the other. We have 4 more quarters left. We have 2 chocolate and 2, what I have is vanilla. All right. And once these are hard enough, we can bake them. All right. If you're super concerned about knowing what's what, just write a little C on them. Pen, doesn't matter. You're not going to be using this parchment to bake. All right, these last 2. Be prepared. This is the most difficult technique probably you'll ever do in baking. And I don't mean to make you sweat, but just get ready for it. You're going to take these 2 dough balls, 1 vanilla and 1 chocolate, and you're going to just smash them together. And I know I'm a professional, maybe you can't do it, but I believe in you that you can just smash these 2 together with no abandon. Just do it. Just smash them. We're making marbled shortbread. And I have way too much chocolate on one end and way too much vanilla on the other, and you can fix that by smashing more of the other dough. And it might not look like much right now, but when you cut it, it's so pretty. Oh my goodness. And this will be twice as long. We've got 2 dough balls here, so this will be twice as long. Don't worry about the length. That's totally fine. And if you want to make these rectangular, go for it. I'm going to turn mine into cylinders. And air pockets are just as much of a concern, if not more. So be careful with that. I can sort of feel an air pocket in the right side here. All right, yeah, mine's really long actually. Okay, it doesn't matter. These bake for a very short period of time, so there's nothing to really be concerned about. And this for sure is not going to fit in my tray in the freezer. So I'm actually just going to slide it into the freezer door. Well, not there. All right, got a spot. And the last method, how we doing, by the way? Let me know if how we're doing. Let me know if you're doing okay. You might want a little extra flour for this. I'm going to get some extra flour. And I might get a rolling pin. I've been debating this. That's powdered sugar. You can roll stuff in powdered sugar. Maybe if you've ever used fondant, you have. It's actually super handy when you're dealing with fondant, rolling in powdered sugar. We're going to roll this flat. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry. We're going to fix it. We're going to chop off the ends and everything. And you can pat this flat like you maybe did with the scones the first week. I'm using rolling pin just to make it easier. You're looking for it to be just maybe 2 centimeters. It sounds like a lot. Maybe 1 centimeter thick, and you'll see. If it's breaking, you can squish these back together. I mean, you basically just squished these back together when we were frosaging and rubbing it into the table. And it is going to be delicate. Don't even fret. Now is actually a perfect time to preheat your oven, 350. These cook for 8 to 12 minutes. I'm going to preheat my oven right now. And you can get a tray out with parchment. If you don't have parchment, don't worry about it. Or you can grab it later. Again, super forgiving recipe. That's why I love it so much. And then you're going to roll out your vanilla dough, whatever you're using to actually, if you're using lavender with chocolate sounds really good right now. And you want it to be about the same. And now this dough is not going to be perfect. and that is okay. Don't even worry about that. Remember, you have how many? 5 logs of shortbread in the freezer right now. You're fine. If this one doesn't work out, you're absolutely fine. I haven't actually made this in a long time. I don't typically sell chocolate shortbread. I have, right now, because it's spring, I have iced lemon, which I love. You can always add an icing to shortbread. Grapefruit sounds really good. I feel like I should put that on the menu, and grapefruits are best in winter. But I sell orange shortbread, which is absolutely delicious. If you don't like orange, still, I think you should try it. And regular shortbread. Those are sort of my base shortbreads. Okay, this, feel free, maybe I will too. Feel free to just scoop this up with a spatula or a spoon, something flat. I have an offset. You can tell I'm debating right now which tool I want to use. I'm going to use a spatula. And you can choose which one goes on top of the other. I'm going to put the chocolate on top of the vanilla. And if it breaks, that's okay. Don't even worry about it. Let me make sure. Mine broke. I'm not concerned. Neither should you be. Sometimes if you add too much flour to your work surface, this can happen. Can you guys see? Good. Okay, you can see. So my chocolate's on top of my vanilla. And then this can be hard. I'm going to tell you, this can be hard. I'm going to roll them into each other. And you might know what we're about to do. We're going to make a pinwheel. So gently nudge, and I should have mentioned this, you can do this on plastic wrap. I'm not great with rolling on plastic wrap, but you can always ease the plastic wrap up to help start the roll. I'm not fantastic at it, so I don't like to do that, but you do what's best for you. You do what you're good at. And mine's breaking a fair amount. So if yours isn't breaking, like, kudos, bravo. I think I definitely added too much flour to my work surface. But that doesn't mean it won't still be fun and gorgeous. Okay, and then this guy you're also going to wrap, and maybe I didn't add enough flour to the bottom. Wrap and put into the freezer, and you do want to sort of squeeze it. I might actually cut mine in half. And the best way to sort of squeeze any dough is actually inside of a wrapping. I'm going to remove some of the excess because not all of my chocolate covered my vanilla. Right now is sort of the time to massage it out, make sure there are no air pockets. I'm pretty sure I have an air pocket in my my spiral. It's all really fine. Nothing, don't even worry about it. And this guy's going into the freezer too. Now we're going to pull out our other shortbread. I'm going to show you what you can do with them. Because I have a few ideas that you can take or leave, and a few other options for you. So first, pull out your 2 rectangles. I've got one right here. That hardened really nicely. My vanilla shortbread's doing great. And this is my other rectangle, and I'm going to, too big, replace it in the freezer with this spiral. Okay. Now pull out your rectangles. Clean your work surface. All right. And I love this one. This is really fun. Get a knife, any knife, and you're going to quarter them carefully. So cut it through the top and then cut each of those in half. And this is one reason it was important to try and get them close to the same size. You can always adjust. It's not a big deal if you didn't. Like, neither of mine are perfect rectangles, and that's totally fine. And now you can make a checkerboard. This is how checkerboards are made. So you want to fit the pieces back together. And then, of course, this is going to go back into the freezer. So I'm doing chocolate vanilla like that. You can actually do this in a circle. If you wanted to do a cylinder, you can do that instead. Since I think of checkerboards as rectangular or squares, then I like doing it this way. So sort of squeeze that guy together because you don't want it falling apart in the oven, but if it does, that's okay. It's like our mantra here, that's okay, because it's all okay. What's the absolute, oven's ready. What's the absolute worst thing that can happen? It looks awful. It's going to be edible no matter what you do. So long as you didn't add any ingredients I didn't know about. All right, make your second checkerboard. And throw this guy into the freezer as well. And I hope your dough has been sort of hardening as much as mine has been hardening, because it's going to be fairly simple to cut when we get there. And we're almost there. Okay, I'm going to get out my trusty circular cake pan. And I'm going to pull out my other 2 shortbread and put these checkerboards back in. And again, you don't have to bake off all of these right now at all. You can bake off 5 cookies. Although, gosh, the 5 cookies might get lonely on this very large sheet pan, and maybe you should save some because these keep so well. I mean, just keep them in an airtight bag or container and you're golden. Okay, I'm going to start with our vanilla, which this is perfect. As you can see, it's hard. It's going to be really easy to cut. Oh, good. Okay, everyone's cool. Let me know if you have questions. Now, some people, I mentioned egg wash as an optional ingredient today. I don't actually use egg wash. I use water. I don't like the extra browning. These brown gorgeously. You know when they're done, when they're golden brown around the edges and just a sort of a light, soft center. And once they set, they're perfect. So I use water on the outside. I'll get a bowl or a mug. If you notice, I always use mugs for these things. Of cold water, ready to go. And then these are called diamants, which means diamonds, because of their exterior. Typically, I roll mine in granulated sugar, so it's got this really pretty sort of diamond outside. I haven't tried rolling them in much other than that, but you can do sprinkles if you want something fun. I don't see why turbinado sugar wouldn't work. Sugar in the raw, a large crystal, they might fall off. Today I'm doing something I've never done before. Join me or not, absolutely up to you. I'm going to use cinnamon sugar because that sounds amazing. And why am I not selling a cinnamon sugar shortbread? And maybe I'll find out why today. So get any pan that will fit this shortbread. I'm going to go for another circular cake pan. And you just want just like a thin layer of your sugar. I keep cinnamon sugar on hand because I love it. 1/4 cup granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon cinnamon is my favorite ratio, which is pretty heavy on the cinnamon, but it's up to you. Okay, and then I'm going to take my cold water, which I just got, and I use my hand. You can use a brush. I just use my hand so I can feel how much is going on. Oh, cinnamon sugar smells so good. And I roll it in the cinnamon sugar. And we've got cinnamon diamant. I don't know what cinnamon is in French. Someone let me know if you speak French and you know. And it's just rolled like that in cinnamon sugar. We're practically making churro shortbread right now. I released churro blondies at the beginning of this year. Guys, they're so good. I didn't know how much I loved cinnamon until my niece was born. And her name is Cassia, and that actually means cinnamon, or it's a type of cinnamon. It's pretty special. I'm cutting these, gosh, I don't know, quarter. See, I'm used to using metric when I'm doing this. They're like 1.5 centimeters. You can cut these as thick as you want. And I'm going to maybe make half my log, and you can bake all of these at once. And I'm just going to line them along the top. So these are my cinnamon shortbread along the top. And then if you saved your paper, you can just roll it right back up in your paper. Next, let me get cinnamon sugar off my hand. I am also going to roll my chocolate in cinnamon sugar because that just makes me think of Mexican hot chocolate, and that also sounds really cool. So Mexican hot chocolate shortbread for me. I feel like that's what I spend my time doing is it's cinnamon on chocolate shortbread, but if you call it Mexican hot chocolate shortbread, it makes it infinitely more interesting and more fun. And it's so pretty, the light sugar on the chocolate shortbread. And you don't have to roll it at all. If you don't want to roll, don't. Okay. And I'm cutting off my ends, because they're a little bit misshapen. Okay. I'm I'm gonna bake off 5 of these guys, and then we can check our freezer and see how our other ones are doing. Again, you can throw these, once they're hard especially, throw them all in a plastic bag. They can sit on top of each other. It's not a huge deal. Okay, let's get our checkerboards out. Oh, and our marble. Hello. Get that marble out. Woo! We have so many shortbread today. I'm really stoked about it. So I'm gonna actually, my marble's biggest, so I'm gonna do it now. Oh, how cool is that? And don't get cinnamon on your marble if you don't want to. I always like to keep a garbage bowl on hand. Okay, I think I said that before. I have a little bit of cinnamon on my knife. And let's see how our marble cookies turned out. So you might have seen that one broke a little bit. That's why you want to make sure there are no air pockets. I don't like coating cookies that sort of have a specific design to them. So let's see. These are my marble cookies. Aren't they cute? Oh my gosh. I think they're adorable. I'm biased. I think they're adorable. Damn, as you cut down, you should know, as you cut down your roll, the design will change, but I sort of have like 10 cookies with the same marble design because that was just that was the clump of dough. And then let's check a checkerboard right now. Check a checker, say that 5 times fast. Okay. Now for this, you'll notice that like it's uneven on the end. That's absolutely fine. I'm just gonna cut it off. Oh, cute. So cute. And if you are using egg wash to get your sugar on there, let me know. I'm curious how they turn out. Oh my goodness, look at this little checkerboard. And spirals are next. So what I have right here, I have not even classic diamond, cinnamon diamond. I've got Mexican hot chocolate, marble and checkerboard, and one more. And if, again, you haven't preheated your oven yet, go for it now. These are about to go in. I really don't think my spiral worked out. Let's see, though. That is really sticking. It has a design, which is all you're really looking for is a design. Okay. No, I don't think send me photos of your spirals. I don't think this worked out that well. Oh, it's so darling. I'm thrilled. Sometimes I'm amazed that things turn out when I'm like, no, that did not go well. This went well. Even though you're digital, I feel like I shouldn't be pointing at you with a knife. Okay, let me show you some of these guys. Ooh, cute, cute little spiral. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna bake 3 of these off because my tray's just about full. 4 because I've got it here. There we go. Okay. Wrap this up, everything back into the freezer. If you're trying to bake them off like within the next 2 days, put them in the fridge. That's better. Make sure that they're in a plastic bag though first. If not, keep these in the freezer for 2 months. Make sure you let them temper at room temperature before you start cutting. They won't cut frozen. Not well, at least, and you don't need them crumbling on you. Throw them in the fridge overnight the day before that you're baking them, and then you can have a tea party. I know I mentioned the quarantine that I really wanted us to do. We're sort of on our way there, cupcakes aside. If you know tea, there are 3 levels. There's a savory on the bottom, usually tea sandwiches, and then you have your scones and your sides, your lemon curd and clotted cream, and then up top you have your little desserts like profiteroles or cream puffs. So we're sort of on our way there if we count cupcakes on that top tier. Into the oven. I'm going to do 5 minutes and then turn the pan. It usually takes, it's quick, they brown quickly, so you're going to have to keep your eye on them. 8 to 12 minutes depending on your oven. Let's see, 5 for me. And then, okay, tell me how you're doing. How's everything going? Is anyone having any problems? Oh, you're so sweet. Thanks for dropping in. I have a ball doing these. Seriously, I'm really pleased. I was thinking recently about making new products. I don't know if you're not on the mailing list, you can sign up at www.beurrepastrysshop.com/contact, and you can sign up there. I only send out emails when there's actually something to say. New products, seasonal products, sort of before the no items. Typically I release products first to the email subscribers, and then I later send them out through social media. The most recent one were pommiers. I wish I had written it down. Pommier is spelled P-A-L-M-I-E-R-S. They're the little they're palm-shaped puff pastry cookies that I make. Still make them by hand. I've been considering doing it with you guys. It's so time-consuming, though. I'm nervous. We'd sort of have to do 2 days, 2 parts. But I just released a new collection called Pommiers. P-A-L-M-I-Y-A-Y, yay, Pommiers, because I've been doing weird things with them. It's the first time, I told you guys about this. It was the first time that a product came to me in a dream, and it wasn't at all really like the one I ended up releasing because it was a dream. It didn't make any sense. That can't be put in the oven and that sort of thing. But I have cookies and cream pommiers. Puff pastry typically takes 5 turns in flour, which is a process, and then the 5th turn is when you flavor it. Your Parmesan, that's how you get savory pommiers. Your sugar, sweet pommiers, cinnamon sugar. So I use Oreo crumbs, super fun and really good, and then graham crackers for s'mores pommiers. So I have cookies and cream and s'mores pommiers, and it's actually been a ball. I try and do sort of weird stuff, but that's still within my wheelhouse, unless I really want to try something new. That's the beauty of doing all the baking. I can do what I want. Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. That's okay if anyone's just catching the tail end. I post these in full, for sure, on Facebook and YouTube and the website, and then Instagram, but only if they're under an hour. And I know recently I haven't been making the cut. Thank you to everyone who sticks with me. I'm like amazed when you guys stick with me. It's fantastic. But this one, I should be able to make it under an hour, you guys. It's 2:46. I started at 2 p.m. and these guys need 8 more minutes in the oven. And then I'll plate them up and show you. Speaking of which, I should actually get out a plate and get ready. Oh, so if you're not subscribed but you want to hear about new products, we do ship. I just started a sort of a brand new shipping system, and we do bar jars and cookie jars. I'm looking into doing pommier jars and scone jars. Cookies and bars keep better, and so I'm working on the best way to ship more delicate items. Because I don't know, I like my scones fresh. I mean, we can say that about anything, I guess. It's always better fresh. These will be better today than they are tomorrow, but they're excellent tomorrow. You have to take care of your leftovers, keep them sealed, do all of that, but they're really good. Trust me, they're really good. The most popular tea cookie I have are Cocoa Crunch, and there are some things it's hard for me to let go, and I'm going to let go. I mean, this has been so much fun, and we're all in quarantine. I remember the first week I said, gosh, guys, we're 7 days in, and I think we're like 35, I don't even know. We're over 30 days in, we have to be. This is the 5th week. Are we 6 weeks in? Who knew? Like, who knew? So I'm going to keep doing this so long as people want to sort of have fun. If you want to make pommiers, we can do it, guys. We can. I've been nervous about sort of your time commitment on it, but I can even do 2 days, and then I'll release it later, and you can follow along then. It's very simple. Puff pastry is flour, water, salt, and butter. That's puff pastry. That's all that you need, and hopefully you have that in stock, even though most stores don't. So it's really simple. The work comes, and like the manual labor comes with the rolling and the turning, and it can be super frustrating, but I can tell you that it always comes together. It always comes together in the end. Okay, I'm checking my cookies. Oh, they're so cute. They're not done. They shouldn't be done. They're halfway through. But you can even see a little bit of browning along the edge of the cinnamon sugar ones. So I'm going to throw them in for another 5 minutes, and I'm pretty sure they'll be done then. Golly, I'm like, can someone tell me, did I turn the pan around? We always want to avoid the hot spots. That's why I know some people are like, you're letting the heat out of the oven. I'd rather let the heat out and have it sort of get back up to temp than leave a cookie in a hot spot. Can't do it. Maybe we'll make soufflés sometimes. Those I am much more delicate on. You don't need the magic touch to make puff pastry. You can absolutely do it. Oh, good. I'm so glad that water fixed the dough. I'm really, really thrilled. Oh, lavender walnut chocolate. Someone on Facebook's making lavender walnut chocolate. It sounds divine. That's another thing I should have mentioned. You can throw chopped, probably safest with something this small, but if you want to add dried fruit, if you want to add chopped chocolate just to vanilla, and you can have chocolate chip shortbread, awesome. All of that's awesome. You can throw in spices. Now that I'm doing cinnamon sugar, I'm thinking, why haven't I done pumpkin spice shortbread for the fall and winter? That sounds great. You can have fun with this recipe. Cocoa Crunch, I know. I need to absolutely let it go. We can do souffle. I just spat. I need to like wear a face mask in my own kitchen. It's sort of a family recipe, the souffle, and I love to do it. It's labor intensive. I can't even call it time consuming. They don't spend that long in the oven, but they are. It is a little labor intensive. I never set my timer. This happens all the time. 4 minutes. How you guys doing? Did you set a timer? You let me know when it's been 5 minutes. I'm just chit-chatting with you instead. What was it was pommiers that I was thinking about. So we can do it. What I didn't expect is on Facebook, last week I was just posting a picture of an order I had for coffee cake, and everyone wanted to make it. So, not doing a poll this week. Coffee cake is happening. I'm really excited about it. I'm most excited about the crumble, which I think was also a little like, oh, but this is the best crumble I've ever, like, this is the crumble of my dreams. I have to share it with you. I have to. I hope no one gets mad. I'm not going to be making coffee cake next week because I'm going to be making pound cake and showing you how to turn it into coffee cake. It's a base recipe. It's my favorite pound cake. You can add so many things to it. I'm pretty sure I've made cantaloupe ginger pound cake from this recipe just with macerated means when you add liqueur or sugar and you let it sit with fruit and it develops that perfect sort of juice at the bottom. That's maceration. But right, I really liked that. But you can sort of zhuzh up, which has been my word this week, this pound cake and make it into anything you want. I will show you how to make coffee cake with it, but I want all of you to have the recipe for this pound cake. So you can make it however you want. I use it as a vanilla base for strawberry shortcake, which isn't, actually it's not shortcake then. I guess it's strawberry pound cake. Just as good. Throw some whipped cream on it. Good. Okay. I'm really pleased. And I'm curious how you guys like coffee cake, really. Right? I think so. Coffee cake is for sure easier than pommiers. Yes, it will be stand mixer. You basically throw a bunch of ingredients in the stand mixer for this pound cake and you turn it on and walk away for 10 minutes. Except it'll be us, and instead of walking away, I'll just be talking to you guys for 10 minutes with this whirring going on next to me. But it's delicious and worth it. The thing is, we will, and this is all about next week, we're doing the coffee cake. We will put it in the oven, and I'll actually sign off because it takes a long time to bake. It takes an hour, typically, to bake. But I'm hoping I'm going to post sort of my coffee cake results with you guys, and there's nothing to be done at that point. That is one of the baking situations where if it's not right, it can't be fixed after it's been in the oven. It's sort of done at that point. So we'll throw it in the oven together and pray that it works out. But I'm excited. I've been trying to make sure that we get recipes completely finished within the hour. And so for that one, because it takes an hour to bake and it's not even possible, I can either sign on when mine is coming out of the oven, or I might just sort of post a reveal, an unmolding instead of an unboxing, an unmolding of the coffee cake. So I'm excited about that. Cantaloupe, yes. I did some wacky things last year, very fun. Some of you know this. I have a twin sister. She was pregnant last year. Now she's not because we have baby Gemma. And so each week when she found out the size of the baby based on a food item, I would create a new product for markets that weekend. And so weird things came out of that, like cantaloupe pound cake, for instance. Honeydew is one of them too. I don't remember what I did. I know that the most popular quiche product I have now is sausage red pepper, and that came out of actually red pepper when Gemma was the size of a red pepper. So I did some weird things. It forced creativity, and that's super fun. Okay, here we go. Oh, I hope mine aren't overcooked. I just thought now with those 4 minutes. No, they're perfect. Oh my goodness, they're perfect. I'm so happy. Oh, here, I'll get them up in your face. Let me show you. The thickest ones I made were the cinnamon vanilla cookies. So those have browned the least, but they're exactly how I like it. You can see nice browning on the marble, hello, and the spirals. So I'm going to pull them off of the tray. And you can let them cool on here, but I want to sort of get them up in your face with a plate. I'm so excited to try these cinnamon sugar. Guys, you'll know if you see cinnamon sugar all of a sudden pop up on the pastry shop, this worked out really well. So we'll see. Get some spirals on here. I'm going to put all of the cookies on here. We need just a stack of shortbread. Now that sounds like something from my dreams, a stack of shortbread. So you can save these for days. You can eat them with your tea. If they're soft right now, that's how it should be. They'll sort of get that crumbly perfect texture as they cool. So don't freak out if they're soft. They're going to be soft right now. If they're golden brown, I'll show you the bottom of one incredibly hot cookie. So this, see that nice golden brown on this marble cookie? The top is not as dark. And that's good. That's exactly what you're looking for, is a golden brown on the bottom. I'm glad we did like a simple but sort of fun and you can get creative recipe. Let's see, I want every single flavor represented right here. And don't burn your fingers. How many times have I said that I can't feel mine? And it's impossible for me to burn the tips now. I have no idea what temperature these cookies are. Okay. What do we think? A plate of shortbread. How fun. Total time, I ended up with 10 minutes. I did 2 sessions of 5, I think. 8 to 12 minutes, depending on how hot your oven is. If you're using a convection oven, they're going to cook a little faster. I don't have a convection oven at home. I think they take 8 minutes when I'm working with convection ovens. So check on them. I always recommend checking on them. And seeing how it's going. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. We've made it under an hour. We have multiple types of shortbread. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining. I'll be back next week. Coffee cake, pound cake. No one get mad at me. We're doing pound cake, coffee cake. If you want to share this, please do. You can do it at me, Beurre Pastry Shop, Beurre Pastry Shop, on Facebook and Instagram. You can use hashtag Beurrefection, Beurrefection, a play on perfection. Tag me. I want to see your creations. Make a post. Let me know. Let me know what you made. Lavender walnut. It sounds so good. Let me know all of your creations if you're making this a few more times and changing what you do. So thank you so much for joining me. We have shortbread. I hope you do too. And I'll catch you next week. Bye.